that have been tagged by construction tape. These images are much closer to that tree preservation area, number 7 and 8, as indicated on the key map. And you can see there's a lot of underbrush as well as canopy and non-canopy trees that do provide a visual barrier. As you move closer to the property, you can see that there are certain portions that are much more heavily vegetated than others, but in all, staff finds that the existing trees and plantings do provide a sufficient buffer. As I indicated, upon inspection of the site, based on the trees that are being preserved for this exception proposal, based on some topography located on the site that actually raises the level of the site with the commercial activity above that where the residential property sits, and due to the preservation of some of the other larger mature trees on site, staff finds that the applicant has satisfied the criteria as outlined on your screen, and we do recommend approval. The applicant did intend to be in attendance this evening, but unfortunately, I think they may be having some technical issues, but I'm available for any questions, and that summarizes staff's presentation.
So let me make sure that I understand this right. So the red is where they've already built a new fence, obviously. And what distance? You said that is 85 feet. Is that correct?
Yes. So the site hasn't been constructed yet. There is a fence. If you've been out to the site, you'll see.
There's a brand new fence.
Yes. You'll see a newly constructed fence where that red line is. That fence was constructed by that residential property owner that abuts up to that portion of the property line. But the way that the ordinance reads is the responsibility to install the fence that's required for the commercial screening is on the developer of the commercial property. Sure. So even though there's already a fence there, the fence is actually located on the residential side. And so the commercial property owner still has to build a fence. And so you'll basically have these kind of back-on-back fences with a 10-foot landscape buffer where the red line is shown. And then in the green area, it'll be that tree preservation area where they're just maintaining and preserving the existing plantings to meet the requirement.
Okay, what's the distance on the green? Do you know?
The green, let me go back and look. So just based on what's shown, the red is approximately 85 feet. So the green would be close to that, maybe not 95 to 100 feet, okay. just based on the scale of what's shown. And I apologize, I don't have a full printout of the site plan in front of me, but it's very close to that.
So in other words, where the green space is, he would like to just leave it just as it is, natural, and do nothing. And then where the red is, let me just make sure I understand. So he's going to have to build another fence that butts up to that other fence that was newly constructed, and then build a 10-foot buffer of vegetation, correct?
Correct, yes, because where that newly constructed fence is, there was a lot of existing vegetation and there were some mature trees. But when that, what appears to have happened is during the construction of that fence, that residential property owner cleared away a lot of that landscaping that was there. And so unfortunately, there's nothing left there to preserve. Otherwise, the applicant would also be requesting an exception on this portion of the property line.
So I guess my question to you is there a way to just do, since he is in the landscaping business, of doing just a landscape buffer there instead of having two fences back to back, or is that something that just is going to be required? I guess I'm just trying to understand why there's need to be two fences, I guess.
Yeah, he could. That would require.
Elena.
Yes.
Elena, this is Charles. I was able to join. I'm sorry for interrupting, but y'all go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, wonderful. And you may be able to answer the question now. I was just wondering, I was trying to figure out why we would need two fences back to back. Is there a way just to, just plant some additional vegetation along that new fence? Anyway, I'm just trying to think out loud. So.
Well, and you're correct. We would have to weigh the cost because since the planning and zoning and it has been approved to have vegetation as a fencing, right now we're planning on the fence. It is counterproductive to what's already there, but the neighbor had come in and cleaned our property during closing and after closing. the need for building a new fence. So it doesn't make sense, but it does by rule of the rules
Yeah.
of the code.
Okay.
But we will
Yeah.
still add the vegetation on our side of the fence after the fence is built. At some point in time, the fence may be able to come down once we get approval for that screening of a vegetation. But for now, to get it done quickly and continue with the progress on the property, we need to get the fence up.
Understood. So the main concern at this point is just that where the green space is now, just being able to use that and continue moving forward, in other words.
Correct. And it is about 85 feet plus about another 10 to add a little veg.
Oops, I might have lost him.
Charles, are you there? Can you hear us?
Hung up.
He might have some signal issues. RJ, just to expand upon the fencing requirement. So the reason that the fencing requirement is the responsibility of the commercial developers because even though there's a newly constructed fence on the residential side, that fence could experience wear and tear over time. It could become dilapidated. A new property owner could come and replace that fence with just a chain link fence. And so the idea is that the commercial property owner constructs the fence and maintains it in perpetuity. So even if the neighbor on the other side decides to keep the fence or tear it down or what have you, the commercial screening is still in place. So that's why the requirement is the way that it reads. Unfortunately, there's nothing in our zoning ordinance that allows staff to waive the fence requirement when you have a scenario where there's already a fence there. The zoning ordinance that we just took back in May, with the exception that we're hearing tonight, we only provided provisions that would allow for the exception if there were existing natural features, like creeks, floodplain, existing mature trees. So at this time, unless the applicant wanted to seek a variance, that would require approval from the zoning board of adjustment. He would have to construct the fence as he's proposing it today.
Okay.
So for the sake of expediency, he's willing to put up the fence and the vegetation so he can move forward with his business.
Yes, ma'am. And that also ensures that regardless of what happens on the other side of the fence, that there's screening in place and it's maintained.
Understood.
And Elena, I think this is outside of I know it's outside of our purview, but the big issue we had with the approval that maybe two meetings ago, I think, was we had the neighbors come in and say basically they're concerned about drainage or erosion from the what's going to be the nursery lot onto the residential lots.
Yes, sir.
And I guess if we're going to keep the current, which I think is a good idea, but if we're going to keep the current foliage in as a screen, clearly that's not stopping the silt from washing down. I saw there's a berm on the plat or on the site plan.
Yes, I will. Let me pull that up for you.
Yeah. Is that new or is that?
No, it's actually an existing berm. So the applicant, in regards to vegetation, plantings and existing landscaping actually help absorb that rainfall. And so what you're looking at here is the site plan that's been submitted, and on your screen, just in front of that green tree preservation area that's shown, there's actually a natural berm there in place already that creates a natural kind of drainage barrier that helps limit the flow of water from the commercial site to the residential neighborhood to the west. So there's a natural berm there that helps with the flow. They're going to preserve that. They're not going to grade it or change it or modify it or anything like that to help address some of the drainage issues.
Okay. And I have no idea, I'm not an engineer, but I would think that the change that was made to the removing the other foliage and putting up a fence is probably going to impact drainage on that side of the property. But that's, you know, that was the choice of the neighboring property owner at this point. So I'm not,
Correct.
I'm not sure, you know, we need to jump through be concerned. And I'm not sure that's, you know, I know that's part of the site plan in the approval process through the city. And I don't know if that's already been done or not, but
Our city engineering department has reviewed the site plan for compliance with our drainage requirements and compliance with the conditions of the SUP. And one of the conditions that city council placed on the SUP was the submission and approval of a drainage plan. So as part of their site plan work, they hired a civil engineer who put together a drainage plan and presented it to the city to make sure that what they were proposing wasn't creating any additional impact on the adjacent neighborhood. And so they submitted that to staff. Staff has find that it meets all the criteria, and so that's already been satisfied.
okay. Yeah, I mean, I like that they're keeping as much of the natural boundary as they can here. I think that's a great way to do it. It's too bad they can't do it along the whole property line, but you work with what you got, I guess. So, but yeah, I think I just wanted to bring that up. That was a huge issue at the last meeting.
I understand.
And I was able to join by audio. I'm sorry, this is Charles again, Schubert. So if y'all have any more questions, I'm available.
I don't have any more. Do you, Ken or Nancy?
I do not.
No.
All right. Well, this is an open meeting, so I was going to see if there's anybody like to speak for or against this as well. Is there anyone else that we know of, Elena, that's logged on?
No, we haven't had anyone sign up to speak on this item.
Okay, wonderful. So we'll close that portion then. Is there any other questions for Elena then, Ken or Nancy?
I have none.
Okay. I guess then we'll move forward with a motion to for or against agenda item number 4.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the exception to zoning ordinance section 118-429 with regard to lots 13, 14, and 15 and a portion of lot 16 of block 1, section 1 of the Colonial Hills subdivision, which is case file EXC 2020-01.
Wonderful. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
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 Motion has carried, so we will move on, and that has passed. Is there anything else, Elena, that we have at this point?
No, that is all that we have for this evening's agenda.
Okay, wonderful. Well, I will adjourn our meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting at 5:27 on July 13th. Thank you all very much for being here.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.